Maybe. Well, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all having a great Sunday. How is you doing, Miss Jamie?
I'm doing wonderful today. Enjoying our weather here, which is like really fun. Rain this morning and now it's beautiful.
Well, that's kind of funny. Same way here in Florida today. It's, it rained cats and dogs this morning, and then it's calmed down now. And the sun's out, and everything's good.
Yeah, nice little breeze out and it's beautiful.
Right. So, anything new and exciting going on with you?
Other than just pounding away still with that America's favorite teacher. Votes start again on Monday. Um, what else is going on? Just trying to wrap up the school year. Got a month and a half left.
Is that all?
Yep. Is that all? Yeah. Shoo, it's real. It starts to get slow for eighth graders because it's they're moving
Yeah.
on to high school, so
Well,
they're
that's what my oldest grandson's in the eighth grade, so he's finishing up now. He had prom Saturday.
okay.
He'd never been to a school function like that before, and he decided to go. And the wife and I showed up to take pictures for him. She did really, but and it scared me to death. He had a suit on with a red boutonniere and a blue tie, black suit, and I was expecting cowboy boots and blue jeans.
I remember those days dressing up for the dance. Did he have a date, or was he going with friends?
Him and some, they're still in that. We're going to go on our own kind of stage.
Yeah, yeah. It's always cute to see them all together.
I tease him about it, but he's he wants to act all shy about it. So
Yeah.
and, you know,
It's okay.
I'm sure that will change down the road.
For sure.
Well, let's
Well,
see who we got there so far. I see you, Mikey Duvall, and Jamie with more forage.
got Jamie.
And I'm sure the wife's around somewhere. Well, let's just get right into it. Before teaching in reptiles, who were you growing up, and what kind of kid were you in school?
Well, I have always been a pretty like on top of it child, straight A, push myself to 110%. If I get a 1 point off, I would beat myself up on that. Um, so high achiever. And then on top of that too, I've always been the oddball in school, the weirdo. Always felt like I was left out.
Yeah,
Um, I've always loved animals. My house used to be called the Hadley Zoo. Hadley's my maiden name. And so we would always have different animals in the house. I swear we never had under 10 animals at a
that's cool.
time. Um, Ranging from I've had chickens, ducks, um, all rats, mice, hamsters, bunnies. We've had corn snakes, we've had iguanas, we've had chameleons, cats, dogs. Um, I think that's really it, give or take. Nothing really big because we've never had like lots of property.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, so growing up, I was the kid. I loved playing make believe, to the point that I actually played make believe through high school a little bit. Other than acting, like I would babysit my neighbor who was how much younger? 10 years younger than I, and we'd play like different like full on like storylines that would continue on to the next day. And
oh, that's
uh,
cool.
so yeah.
So that's
Um,
I guess that's why you help her or teach drama too, right?
Yeah, I teach drama too, or theater. Yeah, and that's actually my college major is theater.
Okay.
So
Well, that's pretty cool. I'm
yeah.
kind of in that same boat right now. Having went back to college, and we got finals week coming up, and right now I'm looking at everything, and it's really whooped my butt. I took 15 hours, so I had 5 classes.
Okay.
And 3 of them, I've had over 300 lessons this semester.
Oh wow.
They pushed it pretty hard, but next semester will be a lot easier. This is a lot of building and fundamentals kind of thing.
Foundations. Yeah.
But
And going back is also just getting back into that routine.
I, we may be alike a lot in that manner. School has always been, or learning or education has always been easy for me.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the trade, the work.
Oh,
So
your mic, there it goes. Your mic kind of cut out there.
Okay. I've got more certifications than I ever intended to use because people on a job would say, hey, we got to have this. And nobody has it. I said, give me some money and I'll go get it. If I can read it, I can pass it. It don't matter. So, well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the same with me. I have 4 different credentials. I use one,
Right.
two. And I'm looking to potentially put a third one on and go back and get my master's.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Will that get you a pay increase too? I don't know how the charter part works. So
Sadly, no. Not at least not at my charter. Because my master's that I want to get, which kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't make sense. I want to get a master's in like animal behavior science, which if I go to public school, yes, they would count that.
yeah,
At the charter, they just recently moved to what you're calling is a step system. They just recently moved to that, and the only masters that they will consider are education masters or masters in education. And I don't really want to spend a bunch of money to learn how to teach when I feel like as a teacher, we're doing professional developments all the time on how to teach. Where I also feel like you learn a lot of that on the job with the kids themselves of how to teach. And my credentials, those when I was doing those, a lot of it was like how to teach the content, not necessarily just random your content. So
right. Well, I see Missy has popped up out there, and we got to say hi to little Parker because he'll get upset with me if I don't. I have a grandson named Parker too, so it's easy to remember.
Nice.
And Jamie with Tire Gods, and I saw Smooth Operator, and I'm not sure if I know who that is. But thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
I actually, right now my major set at cybersecurity, which I may or may not ever use. But since I got into this hobby, community, whatever, I really thought about talking to the counselors and trying to convert into like a biology degree, concentrating on reptiles if I can.
Yeah.
It would just make, it won't make me a better breeder probably, but I mean, I'll understand more. I can explain better to other people and things like that. So
exactly.
I'm really considering that this next term. I got the whole summer because I took the summer off. So
okay, that's good. It's good. Good chance to recuperate, relax a little bit.
Yeah, definitely so. So how did you end up teaching science with your drama major?
So I am the first teacher in my family. My mom, dad, and brother are all laboratory technicians. So my whole family is science background.
Right.
That's how I was brought up. When I was a little kid, I did do theater and things like that when I was little. But like I said, I was really interested in animals. I wanted to be a vet. That was the first job that I wanted to do.
Right.
But then I came to realize how much gore you would have to deal with of, animals passing and injuries um, and having to put down dogs and things like that and animals. So then I moved from wanting to be a vet to be a zookeeper, or work at a zoo where you take care of the animals. Um, and then one summer during middle school, I did a program down at the San Diego Zoo that was called "So You Want to Be a Zookeeper," and found out how competitive it is to work at a zoo with animals. It
Right.
is, at least out here in California, it is. Um, and ideally, I would love to work at either the Wild Animal Park or the zoo out here, because they're two of the top zoos in our country.
Right.
Um, yeah, I mean, it pays. I bet you it pays better than what I'm paid now. And also a lot less stress in some ways.
At
But
a at a bigger zoo, it probably would pay a little better.
yeah, I think so. And so, I mean, that's partly why I want to do my animal behavior master's, is to
Right.
potentially look into working at a zoo, not necessarily here in California, or the two big ones here in California. Um, you know, um, and so then when I found out how competitive zookeeping was, I used to watch Steve Irwin and Jeff Corwin and Jack Hanna and all of those lovely gentlemen
Yeah.
that did all the animal shows and, absorbed all the knowledge. I've always been a person just like you, where I just love to learn. I love to learn new facts, new
Yeah.
things.
Right.
Um, and so as I continued, in high school, I did theater, did accelerated classes, really loved doing theater and pretending to be someone else. And like I mentioned earlier, I enjoyed playing pretend as a child. A lot of times when I played pretend, I was the animal, not a human being. So like when we played house, I wanted to be the dog or the cat, not not mom, dad, child, whoever. And so that's where I got interested in theater. And then I ultimately went, you know what? I could teach science. I could be a science teacher.
Yeah.
I'm good at science. I love science. I'm good at math too, but I don't really love math. Um, and I was like, I could exercise my creative side with science. I had some really, really good um, teachers growing up that um, that didn't just have you read paper
Right.
and what's on the paper. Like, I mean, I had a history teacher. I really loved history too, but I only like a certain bracket. I don't don't hurt me. I don't really like American history.
Right.
I
Right.
like world history, um, which is sixth grade, or that's where it begins. Um, Ancient world history, ideally. Um, and I had some really good teachers that taught that, and I really liked it. And so I decided, you know what, I could be a teacher. I'll have my weekends off. I'll have summer off. I'll have my holidays off. I could go audition for local community things and still perform as a theater person. I don't want to be famous. I've never wanted to be famous. I've just wanted to play pretend and have the world go, it's okay, you're not crazy. Which is, what you do when you're an actor. It's a way to play pretend without the world looking at you in a condescending light, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but I also didn't want to have to be like waiting tables and taking acting gigs where you're representing something that you don't want to do, or where you have to take things that you are given. So with community theater, I can pick and choose.
Yeah.
Little did I know how much teaching takes up your life.
You weren't thinking about all the after hours work, huh?
Well, no, it's not just that. Just no one ever tells you how I mean, even if they tell you, I would say you don't even like. I didn't even realize it until I started full time teaching. Like
Right.
even with my student teaching, it wasn't as much. But then when you full time teach, I mean, there's multiple things. You get invested in your kids, you all the stuff, the hats that you wear, all the stuff you do. Don't get me wrong. I am starting to get my life back outside of school, but there's just so much you have to do, that performing or doing things outside of school is difficult until you become more of a veteran teacher at the same place.
Yeah.
Um,
Gotcha.
Curriculum's changing, students are changing, families are changing. Every year is not the same. It starts to get that way after a while, but yeah, it's a little bit crazy. So, and like I said, love science, so I went that direction. I have my multiples, so I can teach elementary.
Okay.
Um, I can teach elementary. I can teach middle school science, and I can teach high school biology. And then I can teach theater at any level in California. Those are my credentials, give or take. So,
Right.
yeah.
So how much does the curriculum change there for you year to year?
So it just depends. Most people don't realize. I mean, there's so much talk in social media about tenure.
Hmm.
Um, they don't really do that anymore across the board. So every year, in depending on where you're at least in California, I can't speak for other states, but I'm guessing it's very similar.
I would
Um,
think so.
every year in March, near March onward, the school that I'm currently at technically doesn't tell us until hopefully before June if we have a job in the fall,
Oh,
because
wow.
our job is based on enrollment. And so if there's not enough students,
Right.
and so with public schools, you get a letter in March. And the letter in March in public schools either says that there's a chance you won't have a job in the fall, or there you get a letter that says we'll find you a place. Like, so it means that you might be in the same position, you might not, but we'll find you a place within the school district. Um, and so that's one thing that most people don't realize teachers have to go through year to year.
Yeah, I
Um,
never knew that.
unless they have tenure. And then tenure, you're definitely guaranteed a job. I don't know how long, but because in all honesty, in my course of 16 years, I've never seen tenure for myself or anyone else, unless they've already been on it when I came in.
Right.
Um, and don't get me wrong, tenure is a broken system in a lot of ways, but it's also like once again, I don't know if I have a job in the fall or not, which is
That's
kind
tough.
of, yeah, it's kind of poopy. So with that being said, if I stay at the place that I am at, I should have the same curriculum year after year if I advocate for it and that I like it.
Okay.
Um, and so like I'm going on, this coming fall will be year 6 for me at this school. Um, so that's why my work life balance is starting. I'm starting to have a life again outside of school, where I'm leaving roughly at 4 p.m., give or take. Some days I'm not, but um, it's more on that side than where, if you went back 6 years ago when I started at the school, I was there every night till 7 p.m. Um, grading papers, prepping labs, organizing, calling parents, all of the above, planning field trips, things like that.
In
Um,
a public school setting, would you be able to do your reptiles in the classroom, or is that more specifically because you're in a charter school, or do you know?
it depends. It depends school to school, and principal to principal. And I was able to have my first snake in my classroom in Irvine when I first started teaching. And They didn't say anything. And I just never approached it in this way when I was. And if I were to be in public school, I probably would try to approach it again.
Yeah.
I think it just comes down to being transparent, and making sure that you're covering your butt and the school's butt. Um, Usually, I have locks on my cages.
Yeah.
Even though that's more to protect the snakes than the than the
Sure.
kids. But yeah, I think I would be able to. As long as you're able to tie it to education and content standards, that's really what it's about.
That's cool. One of my favorite teachers was a biology teacher. Her name was Dawn Kales. She's passed away now, but she really took a great interest in us. We did a lot of things with animals. Of course, we didn't have animals at school then, but I'm sure a lot of it came out of her money because we were dissecting something every week. I mean, we probably dissected 10 or 12 animals that year, and I know the school didn't do that.
Yeah, those are expensive too, man. Um,
'Cause I know we did a baby pig. Uh,
just you a cat or a shark?
we did a shark, a cat, crawdad maybe,
Okay.
something like that. A lot of different things. I can't remember them all, but it was. I loved it. I really
Yeah.
did. So, have you always been a California kid?
Yeah, I've always been a California kid, born and raised Southern California. Um, but my mom's from Iowa. I lived in Wisconsin for about 2 months, and I lived in Hawaii for a month. Um, yeah.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. I performed out in Wisconsin for a summer. My
Okay.
dad lived out there at the time. He lives back here now. Um, and so I drove cross country, and performed out there, and then came back when I got a job in the fall for teaching.
Great.
And then in Hawaii, that one was I had the guy, my boyfriend at the time, had family out there, and we decided to go out and stay for a month. And so we stayed out there for a month. Definitely, I feel like Hawaii is beautiful, but not. I could not slow down to that lifestyle until maybe I'm older. It was really slow, and I mean, at least they were partiers. I've never been the biggest partier. So like partying every night and then sleeping during the day is not really my vibe.
Right. Right. I get that. We're going to take a quick break here for about 2 minutes and get some sponsors in here, and we'll be right back.
Awesome.
Operation Deeds, Not Words 2 is dedicated to empowering and uplifting disabled veterans and first responders through unwavering support, meaningful resources, and real opportunities that honor their service and sacrifice. Our mission is to build a thriving, impactful organization driven by the shared vision, commitment, and accountability of our team, because when we work together, there is no ceiling on what we can accomplish.
We are equally committed to the growth of our team members, actively encouraging them to expand their voices, followings, and businesses as essential pillars of our mission. Being part of Operation Deeds, Not Words reflects great credit upon our members, uniting communities in the Fat Man Nation. Green Line morphs under a shared purpose rooted in service, resilience, and action-driven impact. Deeds, not words.
ReptileAds.com is the modern marketplace for buying and selling reptiles, amphibians, and exotic pets. Built by Purple Turtle Technologies, we're creating the most trusted platform in the industry. Join thousands of breeders and collectors on the most trusted reptile marketplace. List your animals, connect with buyers, and grow your business with Reptile Ads. Enjoy our easy access to stores as well as a genetic calculator for your convenience. Stop by and check us out today.
Thank you, Mitzi, for putting up that in the comments for us for Fat Man Nation. We'll just encourage everyone to go to fatmannation.com and buy a shirt, make a donation of $5. Whatever it is that you can do, please do so and help take care of our veterans, because at Camp Freedom, they allow them to go do the things in the wilderness and things they've done in the past that they can't do now, like fishing, hunting, I think they go zip lining. I don't know the extent of it, but it's great, and it's a great program. So
They get to do it with their family too. So their
right.
kids, yeah, which is awesome.
And I'm gonna say real quick hi to Christopher Walker for popping in, and my good friend Bosa. He helped me. I talked to him not long ago and told him I was looking for an additional snake of some kind. So when we do our educational things, it's just a different thing for the kids. And he blessed me with one of the most beautiful blood pythons you've ever seen in your life. So
Nice.
we really appreciate that for sure. What are the biggest challenges you find with teaching day to day?
I was actually asked this question with the by the Orange County Department of Education for the Teacher of the Year,
Okay.
and my response to that would be trying to make everyone happy. So not just your students, like that's one thing, you sometimes upset them, that's fine. But making sure that you're making your administration happy, that you're teaching the standards that the state puts forward and making parents happy. And so like, I think my job as a teacher, I'm here to be the buffet. I'm here to put out all the content knowledge, of course, with the guidance of the state of what they tell me I teach.
Right.
But I should not be picking and choosing what is on that table. That is up to A, the state, and B, it's up to the parents to talk to their child about what their family believes, and what they should and should not be taking in. If that makes any sense.
It does. Have you thought about moving into administration at any point? Not for you, huh?
No, I mean, my favorite line, and of course this is being recorded, but I say it all the time to my students, is I look at my students and I go, I teach you because I don't want to work with dumb adults. And the kids always laugh and I go, what? It's okay. You can be dumb right now. You don't have life experiences. You still have a lot of time to grow. You can make mistakes. That's fine. Okay. But when you're older, I want you to be able to find your answers if you're confused. I don't want you to just sit there. If you're struggling, I want you to be able to speak up and say, hey, I'm struggling. I need help. Or, hey, I'm going to go to the internet and ask the question. Or, hey, where can I find the answer? There's a lot of adults that don't do that. Trying to teach my students to be respectful to everyone, compassionate for everyone. There's a lot of adults that don't do that. So being in admin, and the other thing too is when working with middle schoolers and kids in general, they're very open to reflection. They're open to growing too. They, you tell them they messed up at something, you can literally see it go, oh, maybe I did mess up on something. They consider it. They're not stuck in their ways, which is something that I feel like a lot of older, as adults, as we get older, we tend to be more stuck in our ways.
Definitely so. Definitely.
And we tend to push back a lot more, or we just walk away. But with students, they're still trying to figure out how to survive that we're in. And as adults, we are too, but they're more susceptible to changing and easier to work with. They're a lot more forgiving.
Well, one of the things you just said made me admire you a whole lot more than I already did. The fact that you want them and teaching them to express themselves and to speak up is so important. When I grew up, we were, seen and not heard kind of thing. It's just the way it was. And I was kind of stunted socially, believe it or not. Uh, I didn't like to be around a lot of people because I felt like I was going to be judged. And if I said something, somebody's going to hurt their feelings and all those different things. And I think by you doing that and taking that approach, you're going to change their lives in ways that maybe you don't understand yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really important.
Yeah.
So I know you can't give specifics or anything like that, but have you had any parent situations which made you want to throw your hands up and say,
Yeah. Multiple times. Yeah. So my curriculum has articles about different scientists throughout history, throughout current. A lot of them are more current than past, although it does talk about past ones. But it's really good at representation, and so it represents every walk of life, from disabled vets that have done science to people who are blind, to people of different religions, backgrounds, cultures, etc. So with that being said, I did at one point get accused of indoctrinating my kids because of that. And I was like, it's the curriculum. It's the curriculum. I didn't do it.
I think some parents believe that the teacher decides what you're going to teach and everything about it and don't understand that the state and the county and the school has set curriculums that you have to follow in certain guidelines in doing that.
Yeah. And if I did make a choice, then I would be indoctrinating them. And I'm like I said, buffet. The choice is to give you all, not
Right.
this piece, that piece, this piece, that piece. And the state of California actually has within their laws that the curriculum has to represent every single person,
Right.
and that you can't pick and choose who's represented and who isn't. So that I don't lose my job or my license or get sued. That's, so yes, I've had that happen. What's another incident in that direction? That's been the major one. And it's hard because of, especially in middle school, parents are seeing their baby who, like, when the students come to us in 6th grade, they're babies.
Right.
They're still innocent, give or take. And I know a lot of people are like, well, and I'm like, they are though overall. And to compare when they leave in 8th grade,
Definitely.
they've gone through that body change, hormonal change.
And I can see that because I have grandchildren going through that now. Like I told you a little earlier backstage, my oldest grandson turned 14 this past week, and 14, and went to prom and things. And it's just, he looked like a grown man.
Yeah.
When you get my age, and not that I'm extremely old, but I look at you or my children and I'm thinking, you should still be a kid. You know what I mean? It doesn't always click that you're a grown up, responsible adult anymore.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite parts about being a middle school teacher is because in 6th grade, like I said, they come in as a little roly-poly with the baby fat, and they're just like, ew, girls, cooties.
Right.
And then as they leave for 8th grade, you see them, they look like a young adult. They stretch out, they lose their baby fat, they're getting taller. Their voice begins to deepen. They're dressing differently than they were when they were in 6th grade. They're giggling as they sit next to people. And so, I'm lucky because I get them for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science. I get them for 3
Oh,
years. So I
cool.
really get to know my students pretty well. And they get to know me really well, in the sense of, they've been with me for 3 years. And so um, it's middle school is a time where parents are learning that their child is not their baby. I mean, children will always be your baby, but that you're
Right.
not having to nurture them as much. It's also a time where the kids are learning that, they're starting to look at their friends and outside influences a lot more than their parents for their ideas. And so, like, I've always tried to be a bridge between my students and their parents. Because, as a middle school teacher, I'll admit that there's students who don't really like their parents.
Yeah, I agree. I understand.
And want someone to talk to, and they've shared stuff with us as staff members, as teachers, that they are afraid to share with their parents, which normally when that happens on my front, I can't speak for other teachers, but on my front, when that happens and a student says, something to the extent of like, please don't contact my mom, please don't say this, da, 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 da. I remind them that I'm a mandated reporter. So, I have to say this. But otherwise, if it doesn't fit into that category, that I encourage the child to go to their parents. And I encourage the parent to hang out with their child more, and get to know them, just to try to unite that bond there. So that can cause problems, because sometimes parents will be like, wait, you knew and you didn't tell me. And I'm like sitting there going, I'm not going to violate your child's trust, because I might be the only person that they trust. And of course, if they're in danger or they're going to endanger someone else, that's different. That's the mandate.
Right.
But I don't know. I've been in life where some kids really just need someone to listen.
100%. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my home life as a child wasn't the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my sons decided to call just now. I played ball in school and those kind of things, and no one ever came to my ball games, did anything like that. But other parents did, my friends' parents, and filled in and made it better. But it didn't change the fact that I was disappointed.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that I went back through the years, teachers and administration, that showed me interest in things in school that I went back and, I really appreciate that. Then I didn't show it. I know I'm just a young, dumb kid, like you said. I'm trying to be a smart adult now.
It's all good.
But yeah, it's got to be definitely a hard thing to deal with. And, parents, I know for a fact, can be, because my oldest son played football and baseball, and my daughter cheerleaded and things like that. And I never had a problem with the kids.
Yeah.
But the problems that I had was always with the adults. And after the first year, I learned something. The very first practice, I would take the parents all to one section. And this is something I could do that you can't do, though. And the other coaches would take the kids and go do things with them. And I'd tell them, I said, I know these are your babies, and I'm going to protect them with everything in me. And I'm going to make sure they're happy and they're enjoying this. With that being said, when they're on the field, I don't need you hollering and screaming at them, putting them down, telling them what to do or how to react. That's what I'm here for. And if you're going to do that, I need you to go get your child right now and find you another team. Because there's so many situations I've seen, we were in the T-ball World Series for 7-year-old. I think it was 6-year-old. And I had a young man playing shortstop that was an awesome ball player, but his father would get him so tore up and nervous and upset that he couldn't walk straight. And it started. So I went and spoke to the parent, and he acted like I was violating some kind of sacred law or something. And so I let it go for a play or two. And I called timeout and went and talked to the umpire. I said, look, I got a problem. I need you to get rid of this parent for me. And, he waited a minute or two and caught him hollering at the kid again and dismissed him from the ballpark. So definitely parents can be a problem. And I don't think it's intentional. I think they just don't know any better.
Yeah. And go ahead.
So I know that most of us watching know you have the reptiles in your room and things like that. Can you remember the first time when you were explaining and teaching the reptiles and things to the students where they really got it and said, this light bulb goes off in their head kind of thing?
It's hit or miss. Really. The first time doing actual genetics, it takes some time, and it's still like some of the students have, like, some of them get it, some of them don't. And the easier way I tend to make it even clearer is if we play with gummy bears, and do genetics with gummy bears,
Right.
because we can split them in half and there's a visual to actually see it and it's right there. But then there are some that really dive deep into it and understand it and get it. So, it's always nice when they come to you and they're like, wait, no, that wouldn't work. Like right now I have one of my 6th graders constantly, there's 2 of them. One is earning the snake to take home. And one already got one from me, and she's very passionate, the one that got one. And so they've been talking about different morphs and how they would go together and what they would probably look like. And she was like, do you know how to like figure it out? Is there like someplace? And I was like, well, I can show you how to do it on Morph Market and like kind of, be able to see what they would possibly look like. And she goes, okay. So they sat in recess with me and I showed them on Morph Market how I kind of guess what babies will look like based off of putting the traits in and seeing what is out there. And so it's hit or miss. It's like everything. When they do get it or they come to you and they're like, so if I put this one with this one, it's not going to be visual for this. And I'm like, yeah, you got it.
So I'm trying to remember, and I think you do, in part of your lesson plan with the breeding and things like that and the genetics, you teach them how to predict the outcomes with Punnett squares and things like that. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So in 6th grade, we learn very, very basic genetics. They learn about recessive traits and dominant traits, and kind of what the word codominant trait means. Because that's a weird word in a way. And then they also learn what the definition of homozygous is and heterozygous, which, just to be clear, are 2 separate kind of vocabulary words that you don't usually intertwine. And that's where a lot of confusion happens. Because homozygous and heterozygous both refer to the gene pairing, versus recessive and dominant, or codominant is how the genes are expressed, or how they're shown visually. And so with my students, we do 2 things. They actually do a whole like unit on genetics, it's called traits and reproduction. And they learn basic reproduction. They they learn it with the perspective of spiders, actually. And nothing is in detail. We talk about sexual reproduction. I use those words. We talk about egg cell and sperm cell, and how they come together to form a zygote. We learn, like I said, homozygous, heterozygous. That homozygous is 2 identical copies of a gene, and heterozygous being 2 different copies of that gene. And then so once we're done with that unit, because they get to play with the whole like simulation with the spiders,
Right.
how they breed, and it always brings up some fun questions. Like, why can the babies mate with each other, or why do the babies they can mate with their dad or mom, which is always one that happens to seem to come up. But then we go into the Punnett Square at the very end, with snakes, and with that, so they usually pick out one female snake and one male snake. Usually I don't give them all variety. I'll pick either one female that I'm interested in having babies that's ready. And I'll be like, here's your options. And they get to pick which one they want to pair with her. And then we kind of discuss, do you think that's a good pairing? What is our purpose of such and such project? Do we want to try to make a visual recessive trait, or do we want to make hets? Do we want, like, what do we want? And I usually try to keep it pretty simple. And so like this year, we are doing our Belle, our blue-eyed leucistic, is a super butter to a xanthic het pied. And the reason we're doing that is we're trying to see what other genes our blue-eyed leucistic has. So that is the project this year. She's locked and been paired twice now. And so we'll see if she lays. So.
Okay. Well, we're going to take another break here real quick, and we'll be right back.
Awesome.
Introducing the Python Portal, a ball python breeder who works on snow and true ghost combos as well as the tiger gene.
We also offer many unique custom 3D printed accessories, as well as custom merch, so don't forget to stop by and check us out.
I have to remember to go and do that format on the computer instead of my phone, so it will show up correctly.
You don't want to make faces beside it?
I mean, I don't mind, but kind of thing. Can you share a story about a student who surprised you? Someone who changed because of the reptiles, maybe came out of their shell or became more interested in the class, or?
Yeah, I actually can. I still have this student in my classroom, so if they're watching. So I have a student that we have a day called 5th grade shadow day. And that's where the 5th graders come from our other campus, and they get to hang out at our middle school. They're partnered up with one of the middle schoolers. They walk around to all their classes, etc. The year that they came over that I'm talking about, said student who's now a 7th grader and will be an 8th grader next year. We had an assembly with isopods. I'm having a brain fart as to what her company name is. But Tori is her name. She brought a bunch of different bugs, and I brought my snakes out, and we were showing and talking about them to the 5th graders as well as the rest of the school. The student wanted nothing to do with him. Like, he was like, I'm going to sit near the door, and please don't bring it near me. Nothing to do with them. And I was like, all right. So fast forward, I had him in 6th grade. Basically, I practice respect. If you do not like the animals, I'm not going to bring them near you.
Right.
So I'm not going to sit your chair near them unless you want to. And so most of the school year, his seat was always away from where the cages are in our classroom in the rack. And then come to this year, we have a night before the school year starts called Meet the Teacher Night. And this student, I look over, he's sitting in front of the snake cages looking at the snakes. Like just staring at them, looking at the glass, doing this, touching the glass very slowly, not like tap, tap, tap.
Right.
And I was like, hey, what's up? Are you good now? Are you cool? And he was like, yeah. And then the first day of school, he asked me to sit next to the cages this year. And so, I usually don't take any snakes to school that are spicy, or if they are, I don't take them out in front of the kids.
Yeah.
It's always really a lot of, focusing on those really positive, docile interactions. And trying to, like, occasionally I'll grab one of my snakes and I'll literally teach, and the snake's like wrapped around my arm and I'm like, or it's on my neck. And as long as the students are able to focus, and sometimes the snake makes them zone into me, which is funny. And then they get to hold them during recess and things like that. So just quite literally, he did that. And then I want to say at science night, like a month or two later, he said, I think I'm ready to hold one. I want to try holding one. And he was super nervous, but he did it. So it just takes time, I think, seeing them, seeing how they interact, that they're not what, culture really pushes on us, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like we're ingrained in our genetics to think that snakes are evil, vile creatures or something.
No, actually, I mean, not like there's videos that most little kids, before they're exposed to like social media and things like that, don't have it's a learned behavior. It is a learned association, whether it's being taught by parents. Same with spiders, same with any majority of our fears are actually learned, whether it's verbally learned or experience learned. Hence why, they talk about children touching stoves, because they don't realize that the stove is hot. And then once they touch it, they're never going to touch it again. Or the hot pan, it's something that we don't necessarily, it's a learned behavior.
Yeah. We got some new people showed up in the chat. We got Justin from Pressure Pythons.
Woo!
Brad Davis. I don't know you, Brad, but thank you for coming. Vance from Blue Zombie, and then Cookie Man at All City Serpent.
Randy from Dark Cloud Reptiles stopped by.
Hey, that makes me feel good. Well, he's just one of those people I respect a lot, and when people like that show up on your podcast or whatever, it just makes you feel like you're accomplishing something anyway.
For sure, he is awesome.
One of the things,
an hour away from me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he's got some genes I would love to have, but
Well, talk to me. You and I can talk.
Okay.
See if he's listening right now. I'll see what I can do. He's been very much a mentor to me in a lot of ways out here in California. So.
I think he's probably a great mentor for sure.
Yeah, he can be. Yeah.
One of the things you said earlier, I'm trying to think of things in my mind as we go along, about where you get to have them 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Personally, I think that's a big bonus to the children and you. I understand them wanting to be exposed to different teaching styles and methods and all that kind of thing, but we didn't have kindergarten. We had something called Head Start. Mm-hmm. And I had the same teacher for Head Start and 1st grade. And I think that helped me tremendously. Being comfortable in that period of learning there, because I think those first 2 years of school are probably 2 of the most important, getting foundations laid and things ingrained and things like that. So I think that's a very smart thing and I'm sure it's only because it's a charter school. It probably wouldn't be the case in a public school. I'm not sure.
It's so a lot of it is the fact that we're so small. We only I'm the only science teacher there. Because our the middle school campus on its own is this year it's 75, I think I want to say. It's 75. So, there's just not enough kids to potentially have more than one teacher.
Right.
But it definitely has its benefits in lots of ways. And once again, like we were talking before, it has its cons too. But as long as I think you're countering or it works best for your family and your kids, like I really get to know the students. And when it comes to like outdoor activities, things outside of the classroom, or even in the classroom, I can really tailor to my families, to my students, what their needs are, what they want to do, where they want to go, of course, within limits here and there. But when we do the play every year, I usually ask my students, they can read scripts and give me scripts to read over the summer that if they want me to consider a certain play for the next year. Asking them what kind of clubs do they want. And I literally had 5 boys, which was hilariously awesome, that wanted to do a meditation club at lunch. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll throw on some meditation videos on YouTube and you can come in here. We'll turn the lights off. We'll have some fancy lights. Just zone out for a little bit and let things go.
Right.
You just really can get to know, your students and really make learning personal, which is very helpful.
I'm going to bring something up, and I want you to put the appropriate GoFundMe in the comments, please, if you will. You're working towards bringing ultrasound into your classroom. What does that unlock for you and your students in the class?
I think it really gives that first-hand connection to, really seeing or visualizing what, the breeding aspect can achieve is being able to see the eggs, and not just eggs of the snakes, but to be able to use it in the chance of like, it's firsthand, it's hands-on, it's grasping those kind of aspects. And I think that is such an important moment and learning experience. I mean, it's some of the reason why I think the students really love having the snakes in the classroom. Sorry, I'm trying to log into the GoFundMe. Actually, you know what? It's on my page too. Hold on. It really brings into the classroom like I said, hands-on first. It's a memorable experience. It's like when we were hatching those button quails, them seeing that actually happen
Right.
makes it even more memorable. Seeing the eggs hatch and pip, seeing the eggs within the mother snake growing and the follicle growing.
And all the different organs and things, they could actually see the hearts beating and things like that. So that's got to be, to me, would be awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And the digestive system and all of that, it's such a firsthand knowledge. And so one of the things, I have a niece and 2 nephews, and my niece, who's the oldest, when she was younger, I was teaching science and doing theater, and she used to say this statement, and it's stuck with me, that she used to call science curiosity. I want to teach curiosity. Let's go do curiosity class. And then theater was imagination class or imaginary class. But going quite with that is, science is about curiosity. It's about asking questions.
True.
It's all about question, and going to try to figure out the answer, and exploring those questions to find that answer. And, I think it's really hard to question with just a book. if you have a book in front of you, you can, but it's even more relatable and there's
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Yeah, and so I feel like having an ultrasound in the classroom um, would really help with giving that firsthand experience, connecting it, that curiosity, being able to see what's inside, not just inside the snake. I mean, there's also the possibility with the ultrasound of them being able to ultrasound their own stomach, like just holding it there to see their own intestines and insides. There's the GoFundMe. Oh, it said it won't let me comment it.
Send it to me and I'll try.
Okay. But yeah, so, having that ability to do that gives that firsthand, and kind of, opens up that curiosity, in another way. It's kind of like the same idea of, dissecting, without having to cut something open. You're using an ultrasound to do it. Which, there's the bodies exhibit. I don't know if you've ever been to one, but it's where they plasticize human bodies. It's kind of weird, kind of morbid, but it also is kind of cool because normally we don't get to see what's inside our bodies outside of our bodies.
Right.
And so, like, I think that's kind of where the curiosity is with dissection, with ultrasounds, with that exhibit is being able to see something that we normally don't.
Is it bad when you can't find your own podcast?
It's all good. It's all good. I bought two packages of bagel bites last night, and for some reason I only had one when I came inside, and then this morning I found the second one in the backseat of my car.
I will, after the podcast, I will make another video and have it on there.
Oh, I appreciate it.
So if anyone who's watching this now or replays it later, these things aren't cheap. You can buy cheap ones, but they don't do the job that needs to be done because seeing follicles and things like that takes a higher frequency than it does just for a regular ultrasound. So, bare minimum, we're probably looking at $1,200 or more.
Yeah.
For one that will work. So if you would like to donate $5, $10, or the whole thing, just get a hold of Jamie. You can get a hold of me. I'll get a hold of her, whatever. And bless those children. It's not about blessing her, it's blessing the children.
It is. It really is. And if you want a tax write-off, I could get you a letter that says you donated it.
And I'm sure there's people who can use that.
For sure.
Well, we've been here for an hour, and I'd like to go on for a long time, but I know there's some other things coming up in your life we won't discuss yet. So I want to have you back for that.
Yeah, for sure.
But for the next few minutes, here's what I would like for you to do. Explain to everyone watching about America's Favorite Teacher. What, when you win, you can do for your children and your classes, and your intentions on how you're going to proceed with that.
Yeah, definitely. So I stumbled upon America's Favorite Teacher, which is technically a fundraiser for the space agency, put on by Colossal. But what it is a competition between any teacher in the United States. It's already been going on for about a month, a little over a month. Yeah. And it's bracket voting. So that's why it seems like it's taking forever. But I made it into the quarter final groups. And voting for that resumes on Monday. The reason I wanted to do it is I saw that the prizes consisted of a assembly with Bill Nye the Science Guy, which I think is amazing. There's a couple other...
When you win, I want to fly out there to watch.
I know. I know. I was just sitting there going, I'm probably going to have all these volunteers in my classroom that day. Because that, to me, that, part of being in love with science and working with reptiles or animals, it's the older people that you grew up with seeing with Bill Nye. I mean, with mine, I would love to sit down I mean, can't do it with Steve Irwin, but I would love to sit down with Jeff Corwin. I would love to sit down with Jack Hanna. I would love to sit down even with, oh my gosh, from Snake Discovery. I'm having a brain fart. But being able to pick the brains of those people, and how did they get started, where did they come from, kind of aspect, people that you look up to. And Bill Nye is one of my inspirations. So that is one of the prizes. The other prizes aren't that bad either. But the other prizes consist of a trip to Hawaii for two. So my husband and I will go to Hawaii. And then $25,000, which I would love to get and be able to spend on my classroom, looking into furniture, because right now my students sit at desks that were meant for elementary school students, and they're not even desks; they're like the computer ones with the little like pocket electrical cords. So I would really love to get them the science desk with the black tabletop that's chemically coated. And that can fit their knees, because middle schoolers, while those elementary school desks work great when they're, well, pretty well when they're sixth grade, and they're still babies. But by the time they're in seventh grade and eighth grade, they're all slouching to try to keep their knees from hitting the table, as well as helping use that funding to go towards an ultrasound if I have yet gotten it. I also want to pull in guest speakers, trying to get different reptile people to come in, showcase their stuff on Zoom or in person, trying to have different people from different backgrounds, astrophysicists. We've got a lot of airplane companies out here to come talk to my students, because I mean, as amazing as I am, it's always great to have people from different walks of life, and because then my students can connect to them potentially,
Right.
just as much as some of them connect to me. And then the last but not least, an article in Reader's Digest. So like I said, the voting resumes Monday. And then after Monday, it gets slowly bracketed down. We have about another month of voting, which is a long time. But so I apologize if I'm spamming anyone. But a lot of these rounds, you need to be in first place to move on to the next round, give or take. And I mean, technically, so like the quarterfinals, the top competitors from each quarterfinal group, the votes will be reset, and the top one from each group will advance to the semifinals. The semifinals begin May 8th and end May 14th. The top competitors from each quarterfinal group will be divided into semifinal groups. Votes will be reset, and then the top one from the semifinals group will then go to the finals, which is May 15th to May 21st, and then the winner of that will win. The grand prize winner will be announced on or around June 5th. So, yay! But I'm most excited about that assembly. I'll be 100% honest.
That's worth it all right there. Yeah.
I just want the assembly.
You were talking about those fellas, the one that comes to my mind, because back in those days, and I can't think of his name, it drives me crazy. Do you remember Mutual of Omaha Animal Kingdom or whatever? What was his name?
I can't think of it off the top of my head. But Mutual of Omaha.
But anyway, I really like that, and I just want everybody out there to stay on top of this for Jamie and those children. Vote every day. I mean, if she don't spam me, I will. So you're gonna see it either way.
Marlon Perkins.
Marlon Perkins, that's right.
Marlon
And
Perkins.
that was like my favorite thing to watch on TV, for sure.
Well, I used to watch Animal Planet all the time when it was about animals and not reality TV.
Not human animals.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, what you just explained about your intentions when you win speaks nothing but integrity to me, because I know most teachers have a good heart. I think most teachers are good people. I'm not taking that away from anyone, but I don't think a lot of them would be interested in buying their children new furniture for the classroom. And that says something about your character, and that's important. And that's why you're going to win America's Favorite Teacher. But you also have a local Teacher of the Year competition going on in your area, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so in California, so your admin nominates you. I was nominated by my administration for the district that I'm in back in December. So they nominated me. I had to write some papers, write some quotes, write about my philosophy of teaching. That got sent off to our district. And then our district looks through them and sent those off to the county. And so from there, the district sent me, and the county got 63 teachers were submitted, and out of those 63 teachers, Orange County picked 15 to be their semifinalists. And so I'm one of the 15, which is amazing. It's all based off of like your papers, your letters of recommendation. So very, very much based off your skill and your ability and everything that you've done. Because I mean, that's what the papers talk about. Like it's your philosophy, talk about a problem that you have taken care of in your life. What does a day in life in your classroom look like? It's a lot of writing, which is my favorite. So I interviewed for the top 15, which was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And I'm now waiting to hear back. They pick 5. There was a panel. The panel, 2 of the interviewees made some comments to me after the interview that were very promising in my opinion. So I'm very excited, but that panel limits the 15 down to 5. And those 5 then get pushed off to the state of California. So yeah, and then the state of California picks 1 out of all the counties. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Is it possible, or would it help if students and or parents or the general public sent letters to the county on your behalf?
I don't know. I don't think it would necessarily. I mean, you can always send me letters. No, I think it's just a internal thing. It's based off of the stuff that we've typed and the letters of rec that I already have submitted, and things like that. I appreciate it though. I really do. I mean, quite literally just making it to the 15 really has made me feel really good. My school, it made me feel good. But my school is a small school. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But then having the district submit me to the county was great. Is like people who don't even know me, people who have never actually been in my classroom, or who could have picked a lot of different people, and that it feels good. It feels good.
Okay. Well, we are rooting for you and pushing, and hopefully you come out number 1 in both contests, and you and your husband have a wonderful time in Hawaii. I'm sure you can use both.
Manifest it.
Yeah. Hey, there's nothing wrong with positive thoughts, right?
For sure. Nothing wrong at all. I think that's a great way.
Positive thoughts will promote your mental health, make you a better person, a happier person, more productive. But it's science.
It really is. Our minds are powerful, a lot more powerful than I think we even know. And there's lots of untapped potential in our brains that we are just barely touching the tip of.
100. Well, Jamie, it's my honor that you came on today and you chose to be on with me and have this discussion. I appreciate it so much. And before we go, do you have any last things you want to tell anyone or encouraging words or whatever you want to say? It's your floor.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you are wanting to do with your snakes of taking them around and using them as kind of like therapy dogs, but therapy snakes. We can make little vests for them.
Right.
For veterans and I think that is awesome and very much a powerful tool. And then other than that, just to everyone, just keep being the change you wish to see in the world. Keep doing good. Be the reason someone smiles today.
100%.
Be someone's hope. We live in a dark world, but that doesn't mean that you have to be part of that darkness. That you can push to try to stay being a light, and every little drop counts.
Oh, definitely so. I like to challenge people to today, tomorrow, every day, be aware of your surroundings. And if you are, you'll notice someone struggling because it's rampant in our society. Find a way to make a difference in their life. I mean, my nephew and I, Billy Fergbob, who's in the comments, talk about it a lot because that's his big thing.
Yeah.
And one kind word can change someone's mind on suicide.
Yeah.
People need to know they matter and they're important and they are loved. And don't let everything going crazy in your head cloud that to make it look like it's nothing there and no one, because someone does care and you are important. And if you need someone to talk to, hit me up. I'll talk. I ain't got nothing better to do but play with my snakes and talk to people. So I would. It helps me heal. Helping other people helps me heal.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. Well, we're going to sign off, but when we do, I want to ask everyone to watch the next video completely through because it shows all the different podcasts going on through the week, at least the ones who have given me their information. If you haven't done that, if you get it to me, I will get it added. Jamie, I thank you a lot. And everyone out there, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought it was a good show, and I think it was very interesting. And trying to get back to this page here somewhere. I got to figure out how to do some more things in StreamYard because it's still new to me.
That's so good.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I just got to figure out how to smurf people or make them moderators or whatever. I think that's why you couldn't put that in the comments.
Yeah. Had to blue them.
I'll get Justin or Nick one to give me some information on what to do.
Well, thank you, and you have a good rest of your day, G-Paw.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to go to the feed store. I need rat feed, and I've already ordered it. And then we put off cleaning the tubs a day or two. So, huh?
You're still on.
I hit end stream.